Don't hate the player, hate the game. If this statement was about gaming, it would have definitely been invented by a player who deserved to be hated. I don't agree with the idea that if a game encourages or allows hate worthy tactics or strategies and a player fully commits to exploiting and being carried by them, I'm only supposed to hate the game, not the player. Fuck the player. You know what you did. You know what you've become. You're out here making decisions every day of your life in service of being a straight up bitch, and I'm supposed to channel all of my anger toward the environment that's fostering your shittiness as if you know not what you do? Where does personal responsibility come in? Let's take fighting games, for example. Most fighting games have one or two or 10 characters who are either designed to be played lame, like campy zoners who run away and shoot nonstop projectiles, or they have a broken move or combo that becomes the central tenet of their spammy playstyle because it's too good not to use, or they're a character that isn't designed inherently annoying, but some people have just found ways to play them as annoying as possible. Now, as people will point out, there are ways to combat spam and camping and lazy pattern-based gameplay. It's very simple. All you have to do is be way better than your opponent, like several skill magnitudes higher. So just do that, man. Anytime someone is trolling you with broken mechanics, just severely outplay them by being a top 1% competitor. It's that easy. That's how I did it. I simply spent upwards of 2,500 hours playing the same game until I got good enough to get around certain things. Sure, it's only worked against about half the BS I've ever come up against, but other than that, it's foolproof. This is why I hate the get good mentality when it comes to fighting back against spam and cheese sandwiches, because the investment required is off the charts. If you are exactly as good as someone who is abusing OP shit, and you are not also abusing OP shit, you will lose. You have to be better than the other person by a significant enough percentage to balance out the extra gains they are getting by being carried as players. If I am playing against a Luigi in Smash Ultimate who exclusively fishes for inescapable zero to death combos at the beginning of every stock, I have to win so many more interactions with his character because after him spending a couple hours in training mode learning how to pull it off, all he needs is one grab to end my life every single time. I have to be better than him 10 times more frequently. I have to guess options correctly 10 times more frequently. I can't make a single mistake, whereas he's allowed plenty because my character does not kill people off a single interaction because I have the integrity to not choose cheap characters and fish exclusively for my win condition instead of playing an ongoing match where we actually contend with each other. I can be better than this person at the game and still lose in the face of cheese, so get good as a sarcastic advice point really just means get professionally good. And even the pros lose to cheese, it just takes a higher level of cheese. But so take all that cheese into consideration, and then ask yourself, what kind of player gravitates towards cheese? What kind of player finds cheese so irresistible that they will center their gamer identity around it and use it to piss off as many people as possible? Rats. Rats love cheese, and rats love spreading filth and disease to every online lobby they enter. There's two kinds of rats, though. Proud rats, and rats that are in denial about being rats. Proud rats will troll with every fiber of their being. They pick King DDD on the character select screen and lock in their fucking personalities, grinning with glee as they do absolutely nothing but jump away and spam their bouncing Gordo spike balls. The actions they are undertaking are not fun for them, I assume, because how could it be? But the implied effect it has on you makes up for it. They take pleasure knowing that they are being annoying, and they lean into it. Now, obviously, I'm not saying this is every King DDD player, but if you go on quick play, it is definitely most of them. That shit is plainly not fun to play against, win or lose. That's the other problem with the get good solution, is that it doesn't address the fundamental disdain of playing against someone who has made it their mission to not let you have fun. Even when they fail, they succeed. It is not fun to win against these players. It might be satisfying the first one or two times it ever happens if you finally get over the hump of having struggled against them previously, but if I'm queuing up against my 74th online laggy Zelda who spams the B button, I don't care if I demolish them. I'd have rather lost a match against someone who had a modicum of skill that allowed me to get fired up and engage with the fight at all. Then there's the rats in denial, people who exclusively fish for zero to death cheese or otherwise just try to gimmick their opponent to death and then have the gall to get upset when they lose. Like, look in a mirror. I don't care what you look like. It's not a pretty sight. Just because a thing can be exploited doesn't mean you are cool or should be respected for exploiting it. People will gleefully play like shitheads in a game and then go on the internet and get mad that their concert tickets got scalped. You're telling me somebody exploited a mechanic and so you didn't get to have fun? Don't hate the player, hate the game, bro. For the record, scalpers are absolute scum, disgusting people, societal leeches who deserve no rights. Cheesers might be a bit behind that, but they're walking similar paths. There's been an effort to separate the player from the game when it comes to esports discourse, like separating the art from the artist, but in a different way. And while I generally agree with separating art from artist, that argument is usually only employed so you can still enjoy good things made by bad people. The things are good, so experiencing them can still be enjoyable. This is the opposite case for the discourse on most players in games and spectated competitions, because the subject is centered around personal attacks on players who are playing their games lame as hell. The Steve Mains in Smash, the Sonic players, the Game & Watch players, they all get hate online as people for how they choose to play their game, but that absolutely makes sense because the spectators are mad that the content they're watching is boring as fuck, and that can be laid directly at the feet of the players who are responsible for said content. If you timed someone out 3 games in a row with Sonic and everybody who watched it fell asleep because it was 21 minutes of you standing still or jumping around, that is 100% your fault. Could also be your opponent's fault if he was equally committed to camping you, but then that's still the players choosing to be boring and incurring the justified wrath of spectators who are there to watch good, interesting matches. You can say fuck Sonic, the character, at that point, because obviously that's a huge part of it, but why wouldn't the person who played him like that deserve your disrespect as well? I'm not coming at any top players in particular with this rant, I'm just illustrating an example. A Steve Main was bullied off Twitter a couple years ago after he won a major because it not only showcased how broken the character was with such copious amounts of cheese that even other top players couldn't get good enough to overcome it, but people accurately felt their favorite players were losing to straight up bullshit, and it created a generally negative tournament experience for a huge chunk of people. To be clear, though, being bullied off Twitter is a choice. They didn't hijack your account and kick you off. You just got hit with too many consequences of your own actions and couldn't handle it, which is fair if you want to deactivate to avoid it, but that's still a decision you made after getting negative reception from other decisions you made. But I feel like that really started a philosophical wave of separating players from the game they play, at least in the Smash community. You can't say this player is carried. You have to say this character is broken. You can't say this dude is a piece of shit for playing the way he does. You have to say this game is bullshit for fostering an environment where this type of playstyle is rewarded. But can't both things be true? Can't we tool on the game for incentivizing lame characters while still ragging on the people who threw their dignity away to fully commit to them? Anyway, all this to say that when people play lame against me, whether it works or not, I will never not feel justified in thinking disparaging thoughts about them as people, and vocalizing said thoughts at my discretion. And because behavior is connected. Like, there's no instance where a dude gets online to play the trolliest, campiest garbage playstyle he can, and then gets off to go work at a soup kitchen. Upstanding citizens are not the ones timing you out with Sonic. They don't have time to time you out. They have philanthropy to do, and a family to lovingly interact with. The people making you rage with brainless, repetitive me-gunner ledge trapping are fucking gremlins who eat dead cats and melt in the sun. Parentless degenerates who've never felt joy long enough to spread it to anyone else. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos while spamming the like button, and I'll see you guys next time.